So what I want to do now is do a comparison video between the Benchmade Mini-Nitrous Stryker, the 906 version in D2 steel, to the Benchmade Mini-Barrage 585. So you can see both of these knives, I wanted them to be my EDC at some point. You've heard me talk before that I like the overall mini size that Benchmade makes. I like the assisted opening, and I would say this is right in that category. So lengthwise, I would say, I don't know the exact specs, but they're basically exactly the same there. Widthwise, the Barrage is definitely larger, not that much larger, but you can certainly tell when you're having your jeans that it is larger. I tend to not carry my knives with the clip. I just tend to have them in the jean pocket, for example. You know, I was waiting for a long time for the Barrage to come out. I was looking for it all over the place, calling around. Very excited once I found it. I am happy with it, don't get me wrong. But I just don't like the scales on it. It's cheap plastic to me. So that was a downside. A little bummed out by that. If they came out with replacement G10 scales or something like that, I'd probably do that right away. It just feels cheap when I know it's not a cheap knife. I know it's manufactured well. It just seems like the scales are a downside. So now let's open up the Stryker. I don't know if you caught that or not, but the deployment on the knife was almost the same speed. Comparison wise, it looks like the Stryker is just a little bit longer. Certainly it does weigh less than the Barrage. Blades are a different shape, Tanto. Then I'm not sure what you call this style of blade, more of a, I don't even want to guess, but different style blade there. The locks, right? So we have the liner lock for the Stryker, and we have the axis lock for the 585. Now, of course, the axis lock is going to be better. It does feel more firm. Quality feels higher, right? It does. I get that more of a. It could be perceived certainly, but it feels like it locks up a little bit better. Again, it could be perception, but let's do the Stryker here again. Deployment, you know, to me it seems just as fast. Maybe the clicking sound's not as loud. That could be one thing that's fooling me a little bit, right? But I don't know. Overall ergonomics and the speed is pretty good. I don't know. Maybe the lightness is just throwing me on the lock quality. Preference, certainly I would like the axis lock on the Stryker, but that's alright. I think it's good enough that with this older or different technology, it's fine. Okay, what else? There's certainly different styles. I'd say that the Stryker it is a small knife, right? But it has that tactical vibe to it. This is certainly the Benchmade Black Class, first Black Class I own. So it's a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more shocking to people. You wouldn't necessarily want to whip this one out at a party, as I say in some of my other videos. The Barrage here, you know, I tend to call it an executive knife, or I think other people call it a gentleman's knife. That's good too. I myself would categorize it into that category. Does have the axis lock, yeah, or rather not the axis lock, but the assisted opening. But you know, it's still classy looking. You know, it's not that offensive to people. Okay, and keep in mind that when I say offensive to people, anyone watching this is probably a knife lover, and they're not going to be offended by most any knives. It's the people that aren't really into it, or the ones that, you know, when I when I'm talking about that. So one more test. Let me see if I can do that here. Double action open. Not even sure it's gonna work. Are they even in frame? Are we gonna bump into each other? Not sure, but let's go a little lower. Left hand's gonna be a little weaker. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I don't know. Pretty close, folks. I'd say they're about the same speed. The brush just seems to make a little bit more noise when it locks up. So that extra noise may signify you know, a tighter lock or higher quality. So I don't know. Right now, just based on, I'm glad I have both, right? So get up in the morning, pick out your clothes you want to wear, pick out the knife you want to use. So there's that aspect to it. But right now, and certainly there's a newness factor going for it, I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Stryker as an everyday carry knife versus the Barrage. Barrage, you know, I'll talk endlessly about the scales, but the other part is the width of it. I can definitely tell I'm carrying this when I have it in my jeans or pants. Stryker, not so much so far. So I think that's all for today.